is the method a teacher used to teach, and using pedagogy, it must be in line with what? Lesson plan.
Alfonso said the development of a teacher management information system to handle teacher licensing, employment records, and grievance redress mechanisms has enabled the licensing of about 5,000 teachers to strengthen professionalism and standards in the teaching field. The training for about 57,000 teachers, provision of 367 additional classrooms equipped with water sanitation and hygiene facilities were among the other achievements he highlighted. Amongst these goodies, Alfonso Mali said non-timely payment of school subsidies is affecting the gains of the free education projects, calling on government to provide subsidies on time.
It's the most difficult and important component. Catch them when they are young. It has to do with foundational learning. Specifically what these projects have done, they've printed textbook and workbook and guide for pupils in P1. Literacy. The GPE project deals with numeracy. For this free education project, they deal with what? Literacy, P1 materials to support pupils. This project have trained 10,700 primary 1 teacher. Mark you, the UN Secretary General have 5 champions for education all around the world. President Bio is fortunate to be the champion of foundational learning.
Inadequate or poor communication of the project and the activities of the ministry, Alfonso Mali mentioned, was another major challenge of the project. He therefore called on donors to extend the time of the project, emphasizing that there is more need to be done.
Also, the Ministry of Education have the 60 toll-free line. But most of the time, this line is off. And that is the biggest challenge. Yes, we have it. Because, for instance, when interview is being conducted in school for especially the NPSC, if you discover any malpractice, the very easiest way to access the ministry to report is by using this toll-free line. Your identity will not be disclosed. But complaint you have been getting from the public that most time they call this line, the line will be off.
For SLBC, Estanine Kamara reporting.
Well, it's now time for a segment beginning with the international news.
Welcome to the international news. I am Aminata Fofana. The wife of South Korea's jailed former president Yoon Suk-yeol has been arrested over a raft of charges, including stock manipulation and bribery. Former First Lady Kim Kyung-hee denied all charges during a 4-hour court hearing in Seoul on Tuesday. South Korea has a history of former presidents being indicted and imprisoned. However, this is the first time both the former president and former First Lady have been jailed. Yoon was detained in January to face trial over a failed martial law bid last year that plunged the country into chaos and eventually led to his ouster. Prosecutors say Kim, 52, made over $577,940,000 by participating in a prize-rigging scheme involving the stocks of Dutchess Motors, a BMW dealer in South Korea. The Israeli Armed Forces confirmed in a statement on Wednesday that the Chief of Staff had approved a plan by Israel's government to fully take over Gaza City in the next phase of the ongoing Israeli ground offensive. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu first announced his intention to take control of Gaza City and eventually the entire Gaza Strip last week, causing an international outcry and leading to numerous countries condemning the plan. Meanwhile, efforts to obtain a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas have stalled. International mediators such as Qatar, Egypt, and the United States have not made progress in negotiations in recent weeks. The United Nations has issued a stark warning about Yemen's worsening humanitarian crisis, with nearly half of all children under 5 suffering from acute malnutrition. During a UN Security Council meeting on Tuesday, officials urged immediate international intervention to address severe food insecurity, displacement, and the need for political solutions. Women and children are disproportionately affected, with many families struggling to secure even one meal a day. And Morocco has sent 2 Canadian airplanes to help combat wildfires in Portugal, which has injured more than 17 people. The Portuguese Ministry of International Administration said on Monday that it had activated a bilateral cooperation agreement on civil protection with Morocco after 2 rented planes in their water bomber fleet broke down. Portugal initially sought assistance from Spain but was turned down because of Spain's own ongoing wildfires. Instead, Morocco was swift to send 2 amphibious planes to help with the rescue efforts. More than 650 firefighters alongside 226 vehicles and 6 helicopters have been working in Transcosco municipality in northern Portugal. Another 400 firefighters were sent to tackle another blaze in the municipality of Covila further south. That is the international news. Thanks for watching.
From the international news, let's join our business desk.
Hello and welcome to Business Updates. This segment brings you the latest in business and its contribution towards positively impacting the economy. I'm Moses Conte. In today's edition, Slbc takes a look at the hiking price of pepper in the country. During the rainy season, pepper is usually abundant and sold at an affordable prices. But this year, the trend has taken an unexpected twist as prices skyrocket instead of falling. This has sparked mixed reaction among both buyers and sellers. Our reporter, Esther Nenekamara, visited the Dovecourt market and filed in this report.
At the height of the rainy season, many traders and consumers in Freetown expected pepper price to drop as the harvest period typically leads to an oversupply in markets. However, the reality this year is different as the prices have risen drastically, leaving both buyers and sellers adjusting to the new market trend. A cup of pepper, which was sold between 4 and 5 leones in July, is now going for 10, 12, 13 to 15 leones this August. This change in cost has left many buyers frustrated, as they say the high prices are stretching their already tight household budget.
12,000 na me buy.
I bought pepper 12 leones per cup. They are selling according to the types. Some sell at 15 and 13. I am calling on Sierra Leone to embark on agriculture because if everyone plants, the cost will reduce. But if everyone wants to be in the city, it won't be fine for us.
All can sit down at Freetown, work man or they apply where they work agriculture. He not go able to find
12,000. Then they don't buy pepper 3,000, 2,000, 12,000. You can.
The past years, we have been buying pepper at 3 leones, 2 leones, and today it is 12 leones. Imagine buying pepper 12 leones. What about other commodities like rice and other items? How much will you buy them? This is our home crop and it should not be this expensive.
Government need for set very hard. That things too the plants and go down.
But for traders like Jane Sanko and Fatmata Kamara, the price hike is not entirely their fault. They attributed the increase to the cost at which they buy per bag, increase in rainfall, and scarcity from certain farming areas.
I am selling 10 leones per cup. Others are selling 12 leones. Today, I bought from the suppliers 2,300. That's why I am selling 10 leones. Those who buy 2,400 are selling 12 leones.
Some become the man 2,400,000 and I made a sell at 12,000.
Today I sell 14 leones.
Today I sell 14 leones per cup, and it's because of the way I bought the bag. The half onion bag was sold to me 2,200 leones. Customers should know that we are business people. If we buy at a high price from the suppliers, we have to sell high.
Yes. The time of paper be down, where be small, where the level price be level, we sell at 5 leones, 3 leones, 2 leones.
While some traders have reported increase in prices due to excessive rainfall and flooding, Aminata Sise said this year the price is much better compared to previous years. She added that last year, pepper was brought from neighboring countries, but this year, that doesn't happen.
Last year, the pepper deer passed this year.
Last year raining season, the cost of pepper was expensive compared to this year. It was sold at 15, 17 and 18 leones. But this year, it's just today that we are selling 12 leones. For the past years, we have been complaining, but we are not seeing any changes.
We don't tell how they talk, we don't see it, we don't see it. And we don't tell not to they talk. We don't tell how they talk. We don't see it, we don't see it.
For now, consumers are left open that the prices will stabilize in coming weeks, while traders watch the market closely to see if supply will improve. For Slbc, Esther Nene Kamara reporting.
Many thanks to Esther Nene Kamara for that report. Well, that's all we can share in today's edition of Business Updates. I've been your presenter, Moses Conte. Keep watching.
Away from business, we move over to our entertainment desk for some latest updates.
Hello and welcome to the exciting entertainment news with me, Abdul Mansari. In this edition of Entertainment News, Famous received Slema Award for 2025 Best Music, Artist and Album of the Year. And of course, Davido West's Trauma in Miami. Finally, we'll bring you updates on Bibi Niger's eviction. Now, Famous, one of Sierra Leone's sensational artists, received the Sierra Leone Music Award Slema 2025 in the USA. The iconic artist triumphed in 3 major categories: Best Music, Artist and Album, all for his powerful album One Life. His album One Life has been turning heads since its launch, released in early 2024. The 23-track body of work hit 1 million plays on Audiomack within its first month, underscoring its impact and popularity. The triple win highlights both artistic excellence, Best Artist, Best Music, and the strength of his body of work, Best Album.
Find us where you collect Bilam, you meet up woman where you let Pianam, Yalam, and if you let the man na for keep em, want them more. The food where you feel for it na for eat em, that fine la power you let na for buy em, and tire more. And if you baby love you got to love em, but if you love them all now you na for left em. Want them more, cause nobody know what you do matter all. So every day of my life turn old, a fasting enjoyment stay go.
That was indeed a great song put together by Famous. And Davido, otherwise called Obio, has officially done his white wedding with his bride Trauma in Miami, United States, over the weekend. The stunning celebration attracted Nigerian billionaires like Aliko Dangote, Bokura Saraki, and even Davido's father, Adedeji Adeleke, to grace the ceremony. The internet was flooded with the couple's pictures, as fans and well-wishers joined in the celebration by sending congratulatory messages. Adekule Gold, Stonebwoy, among others, gave an outstanding performance at the wedding party. Wow, their performances are really good and top-notch. And finally, Dabnowski became the first to be evicted in the Big Brother Niger Season 10. He tried his best to stay in the house, but was not good enough. Moreover, Ebi Fubara has become the second housemate to be evicted out of the Big Brother Niger Season 10. She did up her game in the last 2 weeks, but Sunday marked the end of her journey in the house. We bid you farewell, Ebi Fubara and Dabnowski, who definitely miss you in the house. Well, that's all we have in this edition of Entertainment News, and I've been your presenter, Abdul Mansari. Bye-bye.
And now for our final segment, let's join our sports desk.
Hello there and welcome to the Sporting Updates that brings you the very best in Sierra Leonean sports. In today's edition, the newly elected executive of the Sierra Leone Football Association has paid a courtesy call on President Julius Maada Bio at State House. The move was to inform the president about the vision and plans of the newly elected executive. Here is the update. In a display of unity and commitment to the future of Sierra Leonean football, the newly elected executive of the Sierra Leone Football Association, led by President Babadi Kamara, paid a courtesy visit on President Julius Maada Bio at State House. The delegation also included the Minister of Sport, Madam Augusta Stema, and the Director of the National Sports Authority, Dr. Emmanuel Safa Abdullahi. The meeting, held as a kicking move, aimed to establish a strong working relationship between the government and the country's football governing body. President Bio welcomed the new executive and pledged his full support to the SLFA and his commitment to the development of the sport across the nation.
We have a lot of talents to shoot to the world and to sell to the world, but we have not taken our duty seriously. These talents need to be nurtured, and we provide the space for them to be developed. But when we pay more attention to fighting for the power and putting wrong people in the right places, we don't get the desired result. I want to congratulate all of you and to assure you that you have my full support. Yes, we don't have enough, but what we have we will share and make sure that you have the requisite financial support to be able to support the teams as they play very different tournaments. And I'm also happy that the president has already engaged or started engaging some of the companies, because that makes it lighter for government when we can get the corporate structures to also support sports. It is one thing that brings us together. So we have to work hard. We have to take our duty seriously. You have been elected from different parts of the country representing, and I will assure you that you have government's full support. Let's create a new image of SLAFA.
A key highlight of his pledge was the government's plan to install artificial turf pitches in various locations, a move that is expected to significantly improve playing conditions and players' development. SLFA President Babadi Kamara, in his remarks, expressed gratitude to President Bio for his support and assured him of a new era of stability and progress within Sierra Leonean football. Kamara's vision for the sport focuses on transparent governance, grassroots development, and the professionalism of the local game.
One thing we need to know, His Excellency, is that there are so many development funds from FIFA, but these funds can only be released when we meet certain parameters. That is competitions. We have to play competition at all levels. For instance, school league, the Premier League, the Female League, the Division 1 League, the FA Cup. Over the years, we are only playing the Female League and the Male Premier League. The other leagues are not being played. And because of that, FIFA is finding it very difficult to release those development funds to us, as far as we're not meeting our requirements. So we are trying as best as possible to have these mining companies to own each and every one of these leagues.
Minister of Sports, Augusta James Tamer, used the opportunity to highlight the recent successes of various Sierra Leonean sporting disciplines, which have brought home numerous medals and accolades. Her speech underscored the potential for sport to not only entertain, but also to serve as a powerful tool for national pride and youth empowerment. Dr. Emanesa Fabulai, the head of the National Sports Authority, spoke about the authority's ongoing efforts to regulate and transform the sporting sector within Sierra Leone. He noted the strides being made to create a more professional and well-managed sporting environment, which he believes is crucial for sustained success. The meeting concluded with a sense of optimism, with all parties expressing a shared determination to work collaboratively to elevate Sierra Leonean football to new heights. This show of solidarity is a promising sign for fans and players alike who are hopeful for a brighter future for the beautiful game in Sierra Leone. Now, on a sad note, we remember a football star with a gifted character, a midfielder with ball-to-ball character as well. Now, Julius Goba was popularly known as Choli among his peers. He played for Port Authority Football Club, FC Calon, among other teams. Well, he passed away after a brief illness. This football star will be surely missed in Sierra Leone for his wonderful character and wonderful dribbling skills. Rest in peace, Julius Goba, otherwise known as Julie. And that ends your update. Thank you so much for your time.
Many thanks to our sports desk for that update. Now to end the news, the main points again. The UNICEF has handed over items worth over $2 million to the Ministry of Health with funding from the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization. In a workshop focusing on strategic advocacy on child health issues, the Health for All Coalition has called for collaboration to safeguard child in the country, citing the need to curb maternal and child mortality rates. And the management of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation has signed a memorandum of understanding with the National Council for Civic Education and Democracy. The agreement aims to expand the Council's outreach and ensure their civic education efforts reach a wider audience. Well, that's how we wrap up this morning edition of News Hour from the SLBC. I am Esther Susanette Bassi. Thanks for watching. Continue to stay glued.
Here's how to send money overseas using AfriMoney and BNB. Dial *161#. Select option 1. Go to option 6 for overseas money. Press 1 for BNB. You'll see the list of countries you can send to. Enter receiver's full name. Enter the receiver's phone number. Enter the amount you want to send. Enter your PIN to confirm. You will receive an SMS confirming your transaction. Terms and conditions applied.
broadcasting house here at New England in Freetown. Good morning and welcome to your breakfast program. Good morning, Sierra Leone, reaching you live on TV. I'm Dennis Fraser. Of course, today is the 14th day of August 2025, and today is Thursday. And as always, this program starts here with analysis and divergent interviews and news and current affairs happenings in the country. Our quote of the day is from English novelist Aldous Huxley, and it says, "There are things known and there are things unknown, and in between are the doors of perception." As always, those are food for thoughts for you, our esteemed viewers. Keep watching. Good morning, Sierra Leone. Back shortly. Welcome back. The program is Good Morning Sierra Leone, reaching you live on the Slbc. And of course, as you know, today is August 14. And as it is being seen this morning, from what is observed, the weather seems to be gearing up. But that's just an aside. Coming up in the program today marks 8 years since August 14, 2017, massive mudslide in Freetown that resulted in many deaths while demolishing homes and communities. And Budget Advocacy Network raises alarm over the government's continued failure to disburse budgeted funds to local councils, and they are warning that the situation is crippling essential service delivery and eroding public trust in decentralization. To further the discussion this morning, we want to usher in our guest, and for that, as you must have heard in the news, the Budget Advocacy Network, or BAN, has raised alarm over the government's continued failure to disburse budgeted funds to local councils, warning that the situation is crippling essential service delivery and eroding public trust in decentralization. Many councils are still waiting outstanding funds from the 2024 fiscal year. Under the Local Government Act of 2022, councils are legally mandated to deliver basic services in education, healthcare, agriculture, social welfare, water and sanitation, and as well rural infrastructure, especially in rural and marginalized communities. BAN says that the government's inaction is making it impossible for councils to hire competent staff and maintain facilities or respond to urgent community needs. Well, for more on this and to further discussion on this very topical issue that is making rounds now in the public, we've been joined by the policy analyst at Budget Advocacy Network, and is Abubakar Tawali. Good morning, Mr. Tawali.
Thank you. Good morning. Yes.
All right. And so, as you take us head on, aside of you raising the alarm that government should really own up to, of course, disbursing funds to local councils, what's also the urgency for this particular need?
Well, you imagine that Sierra Leone is about 8 million population now, and Freetown alone is, let's say, we have about 2 million population in Freetown. So you would imagine that the majority of the population, about 6 million plus, is in the provinces. And so when the concept of decentralization, came in 2004, it was meant to actually see that the process of development is carried out at the local level by the local government. And so the decentralization process ensured that the devolved functions to the local, government. And these devolved sectors include sectors like agriculture, and we have a priority called food salon. Education, we have a priority called the capital.
Free quality education.
Yeah, the free quality education.
And human capital
development. And we're also talking about healthcare system, we talk about water and sanitation, rural development. And so, by law, they appropriate the budget to ensure that this development is carried out at the various local level. But it is becoming alarming that over the years, there has been a kind of perennial issue with the delay transfer of some of these development grants to the councils. And so, particularly 2025, it became more glaring that since January to date, not a single cent has been sent or disbursed to these councils. So, we are saying that this will erode the gains that has been made already in the various sectors in terms of national development and maybe local level development, and it will further constrain the space for transparency and accountability.
Now, the reason why I asked the question, the urgency for this, because it is also expected that local councils should be swift enough to do own source revenue mobilization, think of innovative ways to ask. Because the excuse that government might give, just playing the devil's advocate, is the fact that there are other very important, essential areas that the government needs to put premium on its priority areas. Don't you think that is also much of essence?
For example, what can be more important than food salon? What can be more important than education? What can be more important? So it's about the government owning up to its responsibility. Okay? You will not take a responsibility, a commitment that you have to deliver this. And I'm just taking you precisely to the big five game changers.
But those areas you are making mention of have cabinet supervision already ongoing on it.
So cabinet supervision in Freetown, because they are talking about the seat of power. We are talking about decentralization. Now the bulk of these ministries, they are in Freetown, and we are talking about Freetown supervised projects. We are talking about the underserved communities, the districts. When we talk about decentralization, if we talk about agriculture, a lot of people have the opinion that the ministry should even be relocated to the provinces, because that is where you have farming, people engage in farming. But then now it has been devolved, so you also have Ministry of Agriculture at the district level. So if you would imagine that in a typical farming year, 2025, up till August, you have not sent any support to the Ministry of Agriculture. It means that you will further erode the gains made in the last 2 or 3 years in agriculture. Because there is no way that ministry will be able to function without the devolved grants. Again, we should know that the local council development, the devolved sector serve this function at the local level.
Certainly.
How many percentage of the agricultural projects that are in Freetown? So you cannot tell me that they are busy supervising projects in Freetown and you decide to do away with over 6 million plus population in the provinces who really matter in this goal. So we are saying that the 2024 Local Government Act, as amended in 2022, is still a law, and the budget appropriation is a process in which the budget is taken to Parliament, debated and enacted, so that the government can spend money on behalf of the states regarding those approved sectors. So it is even a kind of disservice for the government not to prioritize the transfer of devolved grants to the local councils, given that they have a supervisory authority, they have also administrative function to carry. So you cannot maybe starve the underserved population only because you think there could be more important sectors that you have to focus on.
You're still keeping the spotlight on the devolved functions of local councils, and wanting to really continue to play devil's advocate. Look at areas like education, for example. Then governments have the onus, to put in place policies that should be implemented by local councils. But if the government want to suggest that some of these policies they are cost effective to manage, and so they have to, go in between the balance to keep track on going or putting premium on developing the economy and extending and to local councils. Don't you think that the government might be on the pipeline coming towards, disbursing these funds, but they have other areas?
So I believe the government has a proactive disclosure policy. When you think they are challenged with certain things, you need to come out and say that. And so for over the period, if you starve local councils of deserved funds that they should have by virtue of the law, then you have no excuse to say this is why you have not been able to support local development programs. Okay, now you're talking about the own source revenue. Have you ever read the own source revenue performance reports? It is nothing to compare to the grants, the government transfers that they are supposed to do. And even if the own source revenue is performing, it is not a substitute for the law.
Certainly, Mr. Taiwan, it's not that we are putting the wrong foot forward in so far as this discussion is concerned. But what I'm saying here is just playing the devil's advocate, talking about own source revenue mobilization. We saw, for example, what happened in the 2025 supplementary budget. Government seems to be cutting down spending, wanting to boost other areas. And so in
spending from where to where?
We're bringing down spending insofar as expenditure that has to do certain essential sectors like agriculture, for example, the Ministry of Youth. Education is another one. Putting more premium on the Office of the President, that it has a supervisory role upon many of these other agencies you are not talking about.
Okay, then we talk about actual implementation and not supervisory role.
Okay.
You can tell that within the same economy that you are saying, that you have to reprioritize. We have more entities receiving more, having spent more, and you starve other entities that are supposed to carry out development programs, not receiving a dime from the budget, even though it has been appropriated. You cannot tell me that prioritizing a reallocation of resources above 300% to the Office of the Secretary to the President can be more important than giving resources to the Ministry of Agriculture at the local level, where you have a lot of farmers engaging in, the President in his speech in Parliament reported success in terms of how much has been realized in the feed salon program since it was pronounced, meaning it's an all-inclusive aspect that you, the local farmer, us as government ministers, we all should involve. And now the support that is supposed to go there to ensure that we keep this stream alive has been dwindled, because simply the Ministry of Finance has not evolved some of this. I know government spend this on when they have the resources, but then you cannot tell me that there are no resources. Yes, we understand in the first quarter the revenue collection hit a snag because the NRA did not realize the set target for quarter one. And through to quarter three, the Minister of Finance thought it fit that he should present a supplementary budget to Parliament. The supplementary budget is presented based on two purposes. One, if you realize more revenue than expected or originally projected, and you think you can augment more development programs, you will do a supplementary budget.
Well, this seems to be an irony, because instead
on the reverse, the second scenario, you can also do a supplementary budget when you realize that you could not meet your revenue targets, and that so you have to revise, the allocations, or maybe.
And although you seem to be ignoring budget resource constraints, we also saw the situation in the 25 supplementary budget. Government raised an alarm that in its domestic revenue collection there was an abysmal performance by revenue generating entities.
In quarter one.
Yes, in quarter one.
Yeah, but it peaked in quarter two.
Alright, so part of your engagement as Budget Advocacy Network is to as well, give that kind of guide to government. What has been some of your engagement with regards to this issue?
it's another kettle of fish trying to engage government to think of alternative revenue sources and diversify.
No, not that you are raising.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
We have been engaging government to tell them that there are alternative sources to boost the domestic revenue mobilization.
Okay.
And so, but what's the essence of you mobilizing the revenue and they are not spending it on the citizens? Right. And again, not prioritizing the interests, the needs of the citizens based on the government big five changer priority, the national priority set, is very key, because that will also lead to the government not meeting its own target set by the time. So we are saying that it is a law, the 204 Local Council Act as amended in 2022, still remain a law, and the government need to prioritize that. Otherwise, it will do a lot of injustice, a lot of underserved communities, and in this case, the local councils that is taking care of over 6 million people in the country have been starved of funds, which will cripple their functions.
All right, he's Abubakar Tawali, policy analyst at Budget Advocacy Network, and he's been talking to us there on, of course, the alarm that ban is raising insofar as government's failure to disburse budgeted funds to local councils. The program is Good Morning Sierra Leone. As we accentuate that particular discussion, we also want to keep a delicate fine balance on a panel that we've set up this morning to discuss on the aftermath, or of course the Remembrance Day of August 14 in East. August 14, 2017, a massive mudslide in Freetown, Sierra Leone resulted in many deaths while demolishing homes and communities. The morning of August 14, 2017, significant mud flow events occurred in and around the capital city of Freetown following 3 days of torrential rainfall. Mass waste of mud and debris damaged or destroyed hundreds of buildings in the city, killing over 1,000 people and leaving more than 3,000 homeless. Casual factors for the mudslide include the region's particular topography and climate, with Freetown's elevated close to the sea level and its greater position within a tropical monsoon climate. The Sierra Leone Mudslide Survivors Advocacy Network have been engaging citizens on climate change, and we've been joined by the Executive Director of Sierra Leone Mudslide Survivor Advocacy Network, Tijan Makaboye. Good morning, Mr. Makaboye.
Good morning, Mr. Fraser. Thanks for having me.
Also, we have in thank you very much. Also, we have in the studio my senior colleague, Aaron Williams, who is an environmental journalist. Good morning, Mr. Williams.
Yes, good morning.
It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Alright, for obvious reasons, we'll start with Mr. Tijan Makaboye. Today is exactly 14 years since the August 14 devastating mudslide hit Freetown. As an advocacy group that you've become over the years, lobbying for survivors of these tragic events, 8 years down the line, what are some of the advocacies you've been engaging in?
Thank you so much, Mr. Fraser.
Yes.
So, as an advocacy group, Sierra Leone Mudslide Survivor Advocacy Network, we have involved into numerous advocacy within Sierra Leone and out of Sierra Leone. And one of our key mantra is to see Sierra Leoneans around the world and the globe have a peaceful coexistent living without dangers of climate. So one of our main basis of our organization is advocacy, like I said earlier. We have been involved into community sensitization, community talk shows, like telling people what their sense of climate and how climate has destabilized homes, how climate has destabilized family. We all heard about the 2017 mudslide that took the lives of more than 1,000 Sierra Leoneans and leave along 3,000 and more displaced. These are just a minimal numbers, but there are more when these numbers can't be seen, but there are more. It's very sorrowful.
And those are the undocumented.
Undocumented. They can't be seen. So it's very sorrowful, very pathetic, I feel like as not only as a climate change activist, as a journalist, I've been speaking the aspect of climate change. I feel like the government, Sierra Leoneans, we need to come on board. We need to, this day need to be commemorated well. But it will always be a vacuum. I said this in BBC 2019 when I talk around the world, because I'm not talking to Sierra Leonean. I know I have experienced the first-hand understanding about climate. Coming from a community that experienced the first-hand understanding of climate, how climate has displaced homes, displaced families, which is very, very pathetic. And up to now, we are not supported by government, we are not supported by...
Just before we come to that, 8 years, exactly 8 years today, down the line, do you think much has been learned from that devastating incident?
No much has been learned. No much has been learned, because the people we call government, who are supposed to be the custodians, need to create that interplay for people to understand more climate, for people to move away from vulnerable
So you think government should teach people to learn from this bitter experience?
Let me tell you, climate is a new thought idea in Sierra Leone.
But the people themselves experience it.
I'm coming. People experience it, but most people feel like climate is only centered around mudslide. But we have factors that are incubants of climate change. So these factors can only destabilize community, can only derail families, and also make communities and the country at large. We all are seeing what's
And speaking
happened.
to these factors, you are all seeing how people are quickly forgetting what's happened. And we have seen some houses have been erected close to that disaster zone.
Yeah, we have seen that comes the aspect of government.
Government?
Yeah, I'm coming.
Right.
We have seen how people are still living in that areas because there is a question mark. People don't want to risk their life. More than 3,000 people within, they are survivors, more than within Matome, within Canigo, within Pentagon, within Camarama. They have not yet received the royalty the government promised them. The government promised them housing. When James Kitchen came to Sierra Leone, he said the poorest of this country is living under a bondage. During the mudslide, he came, he went to the mudslide area. He saw what happened with its physical eye. So government need to give those royalties to victims, and also involve into mass sensitization. Like I said, this thing must be instilled in schools, so people must understand the real effect of climate change. It's not about talking big grammars, whatsoever. This is the national TV, and we have even the people that lost their lives. Most of their children, up till now, they can't see some of their close relatives. They all have disparted, gone to places. So there is a big gap. There is an interplay. Government needs to come on board, you know. And this day is not only a day that we need to rethink about. This day, we are commemorating this day at Pentagon. You know, I was the first Sierra Leonean youth that commemorates the mudslide. That leads to my talk around the world, BBC, Al Jazeera. I tell the world what they need to do to salvage this climate issue. It's evident, it's real. The environment, it's a being, it's a spiritual being. Just like we are at SLBC. If you continuously hit the walls of SLBC, one day it might break.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll come to definitely come back to you to talk to us on this all important program you are putting together to commemorate today. But let's go over to my senior colleague Howard Williams. In 2017, exactly 8 years from now, your stories, your reports dominated the headlines. On this fateful morning, it was a catastrophe in Freetown. From your point of view, do you think anything at all has been learned from this?
Well, time will tell, because that was 8 years ago. So let's see, maybe by the 10th anniversary, if we can see a return to the concern for the environment, restoration of the Western area peninsula as a true forest reserve, non-hunting, no illegal activities, no encroachment. Because let me tell you now a little bit about the Western area, where the mudslide point is. That point, Motomen, that is called Mirimbo Forest. It used to be an area, a community area, where you were not able to go deep into the forest. But at the edge of the forest, such was the richness of the forest that even at the edge of the forest, you could experience the richness within the forest without going deep into the forest. You had fruits, medicinal trees, what they call non-forest timber products. You could get you could even get firewood without disturbing the integrity of the forest.
Okay.
Inroads have been created into the forest since colonial times. Recently, and I will say recently, using a yardstick as 10 years, a decade, recently the encroachment has doubled. One, I would blame the zoonotic disease outbreak, the coronavirus.
Okay.
So many people were sitting at home in the western area. Those close to the forest had no alternative for livelihood rather than to rely on the forest for so many purposes: charcoal burning, stone mining, and then last but not the least, the wholesale encroachment of the forest. People in connivance with the authorities, the headmen, ministries responsible for issuing land, going into the forest and actually carving out portions of the forest. These things are not hidden. The same high quality military grade satellites that are used to drop bombs right in your powder are the same satellites that will tell you specifically areas where tree cover has been lost. My first alarm that I rose was in 2018.
Okay.
I was browsing a website called Global Forest Watch.
Okay.
And I saw a big hole in the forest by John Obey. And I said, what is this? And I took a screenshot of the picture and I sent it to high-ranking government official and I asked, you say you're there to protect the forest. Now look at this. We are seeing gaps in it. Look at number 2. Look at John Obey. What are these big holes? So I went to the ground. I went into the forest. I had to climb up a hill, and I saw that at John Obey they were excavating granite.
Okay.
Huge blocks of granite. 2 would not be sufficient to sit within this studio. That's how huge the blocks of granite were.
With this degrading human activities taking place around some of these disaster-prone areas and even protected areas.
Political will, and you have political willingness.
Right.
Now the political will can be expressed, and I've seen high-level pronouncements from ministers, from even the head of state, naming and shaming, calling out the culprits, making policy statements against deforestation.
So a situation whereby the president was saying, I think that's around my 14 area, where the water catchment area is for serving the Guma Valley water dam. That even if it's whether it's someone, a relative's house that is being erected there, should be demolished.
Well,
do you think that these are just mere words than actions?
I'm looking at things from a citizen's point of view as a journalist and someone who's technically involved, particularly with this Western Area National Park.
Okay.
I was part of the team that did the demarcation. We went with GPS points, GPS devices, marked points around the forest. We went there with headmen. We went there with Ministry of Lands officials. We went there with Forestry Division officials. We went there with civil society members. We demarcated the forest, not arbitrarily. We asked consultatively, Mr. Headman, Madam Headwoman, we want to draw the green belt now. Government wants to draw the green belt now. Please show us where the community ends and the forest begins. Show us that point. We will give you the boundary for the forest. We will give you a buffer zone. They will give you the community demarcation.
Okay.
We did that. And even the forest came out bigger than it was. It was 18,000 some. Through the new demarcation, it was increased to 19,000 hectares. And the forest guards, the game guards, I have a little bit of problem calling them game guards.
Okay.
Game, we don't have big game in Sierra Leone. We don't have giraffes in hippopotamus.
The closer we went to was to have
all of that was an indication that maybe we are not really looking into the nitty-gritty of how we're going to arrange for protecting this forest, because how can you call a forest guard a game guard? Where's the game? The game now is to sell the forest, to get charcoal, to get fire. That is the game that is going on
So
now.
they seem to be part of this problem.
Well, if you're going to have an authority to protect the forest, give the authority the authorization, give them the equipment, give them the support to patrol the forest for 3 days at a time. It's not easy. You have to be well equipped, even for a day, to go into that forest. You're going to encounter people who are there to cut down big trees. They have, cutlasses, sharp instruments that can intimidate somebody who is unarmed. I've witnessed forest guards being beaten up by land encroachers. If you go into the forest, I myself have been threatened going into the forest to confront people with power saws, and I've been intimidated. So you have to equip the National Forest Guards to actually do their work and to preserve the integrity of the forest, because otherwise people are attracted to resources. They will go there for what is the apparent benefit from the forest, the food resources. There are animals. You go there now, you find people setting traps to catch protected species, indigenous, critical endangered species like pangolins, like porcupines. We have even Freetown, we have chimpanzee, but we are suspecting now that because of the encroachment, these critically endangered species, they are fleeing from the forest, they are leaving the forest, thus destroying the incentive for tourism. Tourists come to the forest to look at these things, to observe these things. Scientists come to study these aspects. So we are just disincentivizing the entire forest, destroying its water catchment capability, the other ecosystem services. There are 17 major discharge points coming from the forest, whereby we could get hydropower. Number 2 is an example. I don't know the integrity of the hydro dam at number 2 now, if it is still functioning because of the water discharge. There are so many points around the forest where we could get augmented electricity supply. So if we continue to destroy the forest, we won't get these ecosystem services. And there is a climate regulator as well. You go to the southern end of the peninsula, the climate is a little bit regulated down in the northern part where the Freetown is situated, because the forest can absorb heat. So with climate change being a reality, we really need to preserve this forest and let people know that the forest has a purpose to safeguard us against climate change.
All right, thank you very much. This is my senior colleague, Howard Williams, and of course he's an environmentalist and as senior journalist here at the public service broadcaster, the Slbc, giving his perspective around, of course, climate change and, of course, the dreadful day of August 14 as today marks 8 years. The program is Good Morning Sierra Leone. We'll go for a short break and the program will be right back.
As a mother of the house, whenever I want to prepare palm soup, there's no need pounding palm fruit. All I need is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. My soup is done, and its preparation, it is not difficult at all. Nkulenu palm soup base, it's easily done with no difficulties. Just take few ladles and your soup is done. And its flavor, it's amazing. This is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. And this is Nkulenu's Ghana's original spiced palm soup base. Iron fruit and turkey berries are naturally added.
Also available brown gold natural cocoa powder, sunny gold brown sugar, neat fufu flour, shito, pisa, and moringa. All available at Nyami Ado Enterprise, 1 Lower Waterloo Street, Freetown.
Nkulenu palm soup base.
Ghanaian original taste.
Welcome back. The program is Good Morning Sierra Leone, reaching you live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation television on channel 31 and of course our social media streaming platforms. We still have Tijan Makavoe, a member of the Survivors Advocacy Network. It is actually the executive director of this advocacy group. Tijan, before we go for the break, you heard from my senior colleague Williams. He did not apportion all the blames on government, but he calls for collective responsibility in preserving the environment. Just before you talk to us on your lineup of activities for today, do you still hold the view that it's the government has had the greatest brunt of this one?
Well, it's an interplay. Why do I still hold the view? Because every citizens of this country are under the guidance and protections of the government. It is inside the constitution that the government has the mandate, responsibility to protect its ordinary citizens. So if we are living and in a climatic, vulnerable country like Sierra Leone. We are one of them.
But it's us the people that have made it vulnerable. We have a very rich environment.
It's us the people that make it vulnerable.
Yes.
But let's tap into what the government, the institutions like the Ministry of Lands, the Environmental Protection Agency is supposed to do. One, sometimes the people might not be the problem, even though you might pass on strict laws on those protected areas, you know, but let's think about the housing problem. Up to now, I spoke about
but I'm also tempted to ask you. No, just allow me.
Okay.
I'm also tempted to ask you this question. Should it be because you are in quest for somewhere to sleep? You should be sleeping in the gutters?
It's not being that in a quest, but if the ordinary citizens did not have a site to sleep or slept or whatsoever, it would be a blame, because the government has responsibility, like I earlier mentioned. Sometimes let us not deviate about the responsibility of the government. As an activist, as a journalist, we all have that responsibility in a very polite manner to seek the interest of ourselves as a citizens, for government to understand our burning issues. These are issues that we can't deviate from. If you go to this community, they will tell you the reason why they are still there. It's because
so
the
Mr.
promises. I want you to allow me, because this day it sets purposely.
That's why I want you to now sprung into activities to come on.
This day it's set purposely because of the lives lost. Thousands of lives.
We understand.
So if we are here, we don't bring that understanding.
And we all are saddened about this.
We are all saddened. But the thing keep on going on. The same stories come to studio, come trying to government. It's not a one thing. The past government has a responsibility to play. You know how many millions of loans we are sent in Sierra Leone? But how those millions of loans reflect to those people that are most like victims? Let them shy away of these issues. If we shy away from these issues, this issue is going to affect us as ordinary citizens. Why I'm saying this here? Because environment is a spiritual being. We are all here for a moment.
So what do you think is the way forward?
The way forward is keep on disbursing these advocacy funds to smaller organizations. We have the money.